Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Supernatural Show. I'm by myself this evening. Daniel's not feeling well. He's got a tooth that's giving him a heck of a time. Shannon's on the West Coast. She's probably dealing with graduation stuff for a kid. I wanted to check in this afternoon, talk to everybody. We missed our show this afternoon. I was out of pocket, and Daniel wasn't feeling well. We got any of our regulars here? That's a little rude, Michael. I see that comment there. That's a little rude. Um, Hope everybody's doing well this evening. I think we're gonna just have a general conversation tonight. We're gonna leave it here on YouTube because we're only gonna get so deep. We're gonna try to be careful about what we say so that we don't get struck for using words they don't like. So we're talking about the cost of truth. I have run across some information this week, which actually come from some research on tariffs, which was kind of strange to run up on this. I was looking at tariffs and see what this is going to do to our economy, what kind of what it's going to do to us in general, money wise, economy wise. What is this going to look like? What kind of chess game are they playing with China and some of these other countries? Hey, Super Dave, I see you. Um, and then running across this, I ran across something I had no idea about, and you guys probably don't either. I said something about it the other day that I was going to do a 4-part mini series kind of on it, and I had to pause for a second because some of the things I discovered down this rabbit hole are not topics. There's, well, it's not about the topic, it's about who the topic is related to. Um, and this is about the blood money series that I have in mind to do. Going down this rabbit hole, I got curious about the tariffs, and I found out that the United States, which is one of the only countries that allow to pay for blood plasma donations. Because we are one of the only countries that will actually pay the individual for the blood plasma, we supply 70, yes, 70% of the global need for plasma for biomedical products. That sounds like a big old bargaining chip to me. Hey, Super Sidewinder. Hey, Christopher. That sounds like a big old geopolitical piece of chess on the chessboard to me. I don't know anything about politics as far as exactly how a lot of these tariffs work. I've never studied the actual tariffs themselves. I went back in and looked, and it currently looks like this one would probably still fall up under the 125 or 150, whatever he's got it on now. Hey, Mike, thank you for being here, everybody. Um, Thank you to my moderators that are here. If we are providing 70% of the plasma for the biomedical field, that's a big bargaining chip. And I know China is holding out, and I actually understand some of China's reasons for holding out on discussions or negotiations. I think they're all going to come to the table. Eventually, I think it'll fester itself out. But one of the things we're going to have to deal with these tariffs and cutting some of these other countries off is if us imposing import tariffs bankrupts the rest of the world. The rest of the world's been living off our back for way too long. And the only way that we can fix this is to have manufacturing in our own country. Hey, Giggles and Laughs. Hey, Christopher. Um, we got to have some manufacturing in our own country. And the only way that's going to happen is if we stop some of the stuff coming in from outside. We used to have it in this country, and a lot of the reasons were companies went outside of our borders because of labor cost and taxes. And I worked for a corporation one time which moved our manufacturing to Mexico. I've always worked in accounting in some form or another, and here in Myrtle Beach, this company made microchips. They have plants all over the country. I did the accounting for 9 of the plants on the East Coast and assisted with one in California and one in Mexico. The crazy thing was the one that's in Mexico, the guy there that did the exact same job I did made a fourth, 1/4 of what I made to do the exact same job, because we kind of had to tag team to make sure that he got his part done so I could do my part, and then we all submitted it up when you had multiple plants that were operating. In order to go to Mexico to this plant, you had to sign a $2 million life insurance policy. If something happened to you when you went to Mexico, your family got $1 million and the company got $1 million to negate future losses from your employment due to death. Yeah, really. They took $1 million. First off, I'm not going anywhere that my employer gets to sign $1 million life insurance policy on me. It ain't happening. But in order to go, you had to fly to Texas and take armored car service to the plant, which was behind a fence with razor wire. You're willing to go to another country and set a plant up like that because the labor is that much cheaper, but yet you got to have armed guards on the wall like a prison. This is part of the reason we have no manufacturing in this country. The labor and the taxes are cheaper elsewhere. That's just a portion of why we don't have manufacturing, but and I don't want to get into a deep political left, right, red, blue, none of that. It's got nothing to do with sides. It's got to do with our economy. But when I started realizing that we provide 70% of the biomedical plasma that's needed all around the world, and China is one of the biggest that gets from us, where's all this money going? Plasma is one of our top 10 exports. We export more blood plasma biomedical than we do soybeans and gold and coal. Blood, people's blood, that they're paying them pennies to go donate. Most of the time, these plasma centers are set up in poor neighborhoods. We've all seen them. I don't know if you've got them in your city or not, but we have them here in Myrtle Beach. Plasma. Okay, I probably wasn't going to get in this deep, but we're going to go a little deeper. We'll have to go over to Rumble when I finish all this research because I can't talk about so much of it here. These plasma centers pay people an average of about $40 to go donate plasma. They can donate every 3.5 days, which is twice a week. They can donate 104 times a year. They generally make about $40 a donation. I don't know if you've ever been by one of these plasma centers, but a lot of the people sitting out on the front bench or whatever they got, part of them are nodding out. Part of them look like they come off Skid Row. I also know there are housekeepers at hotels and other people who need that extra $80 this week to buy groceries or make ends meet. Yes, blood is used in those as well. Yes, don't jab me, bro. I like that name. Don't jab me, bro. I love it. Anyway, yes, blood, Third Royal Guard. We were talking about blood. So if you think about the fact that this is one of our top 10 products that we are exporting, and you're paying the person you're getting from it for $40. When I went and looked at the total dollar amount that these companies are making, this is in the trillions of dollars of exports. These are the ones that own these plasma centers are some of the biggest wealth management firms you've ever seen. Um, we're not gonna call no names on here, but this is what I'm working on, guys. And I had promised you an episode on this already. But my reasoning for coming with this tonight and to open up conversation, I wanted to talk with you guys about it. There's a cost to speaking this truth. If you shut out new perspectives, you're not thinking for yourself anymore. You're thinking what you're told. You're thinking what they tell you to think. Lies are never outright. They're layered in with half truths, manipulation, repetition to get you to absorb it and believe it. It doesn't matter whether we're talking about war or medicine or the media or news or superstars. A lie is a lie and the truth is the truth. Discernment is going to be the survival skill of the future. I want everybody to start questioning more. I want you to start having more conversations with people that you normally wouldn't talk about the things that we talk about on here. And we've had this conversation a couple of times. A lot of the things we talk about, I know that some people just kind of look at us crazy eyed when we say some of the things that we know or that we figured out from all of this. Because if you've been listening to Daniel for the past years or on any of his channels or me and him or him and Shannon, any of us, you're aware, you're awake, you understand what we're talking about. So you completely understand that sometimes when you look at people or you bring it up, they kind of look at you with this stinky eye. It They don't understand. They're not awake. But none of these people are going to wake up if we don't start helping them. So I guess I'm asking the listeners to try to find um, a generic, broad question about some of the topics to try to have that beginning conversation with them. A lot of these people, their eyes are shut and their ears are closed because they believe exactly what they've been told and what they've been shown on the television for so long. Mike says, you can donate where I live for free. I'm not sure if we have anywhere that pays anyone. It's coming. I'm telling you, Myrtle Beach is covered with them. There's 3 major companies that do this. And hang on, guys. I got a bunch of paperwork written up that I was going to show y'all. Hang on, let me see if I can get my screen to do what I want it to do. How is everybody? Mike, if they have free ones, they're paying everywhere else around here $40 or $50. Private, Roxy, if you need help, I can help with time. Can you make me some more of it private? I need more time in the day. There's not enough of me. Or if we just make another me, that would be fantastic. All right, let's see. All right. I don't know if anybody understands exactly what plasma is in the blood. And this may not be the best picture because I wasn't prepared to show all this, guys. But see on this picture, you got the little red dots. And then you got the pink stuff in the middle. Well, that pink stuff in the middle has been kind of dyed so you can see it. That's normally clear. That clear stuff. That's what carries all the other good stuff. It carries your proteins. It carries all kinds of things through your blood. This is the stuff that they use to make other things out of. Plasma is used to treat people with severe burns, things of that nature. They can take plasma and do with it what they can't do with blood. Let's see. I'm seeing the comments go off over there. Private, we need to have a conversation. And Super Sidewinder, if you make more Roxy's, I want one. Aw, thank you. Let's see. Let me see what else I can find here. I had some stuff laid out for you guys. Blood for dollars. These are some of the things we're going to be talking about. Can you see that screen? Can you read what that says? Right here. Those words right in the middle of that. That's a lot. That's a mouthful to put out into the world. Because when I stick my head up and I say what I got to say about this to the rest of the world, it's going to get loud. And, there's a danger in getting loud. But this is a geopolitical bargaining chip. And I don't even think we realize it. Because we're cattle. If you think about it in this simple term, we are cattle. Private, don't go anywhere. I'll get you some information. If they are selling our plasma, they're stealing our children. I mean, they're using us as medical lab rats. We are cattle. That's not freedom. Nothing about that is freedom. That feels like living in an ant farm. And the reason I titled this tonight is The Cost of Truth. We all need to be truthful with ourselves, with our neighbors, with our family, and with our friends. And I know sometimes it's really, really hard to have that conversation with people that give you that, that kind of cross look when you come up with some of these topics that we talk about. Find a simple way to have some kind of conversation with them, because until they wake up, they're not going to see any of this. And yes, it is taking life directly out of your blood. Commodities also traded like stocks. Yeah, we are stock. We are their cattle stock. That's why you have a birth certificate. I don't know if everybody knows that, but that's why you got a birth certificate and social security number, so they can track their cattle. Freedom is only free if you can speak freely and act freely. We've already figured out that speaking freely ain't as easy to do as we think it should be in this country. Because most days we have to take our show over to a completely different channel to have a free conversation. Without even blinking my eyes, I can think of 15 words right now. If I said it, regardless of whether it was in a sentence or I was reading it off a vocabulary list, they will strike this post down faster than they can send the email. We have got to start speaking up. If we don't start speaking up for ourselves and making a little bit of noise about some of these things going on, nothing's going to change. Nothing ever will change if we don't speak up. The cost of not speaking up and not thinking for yourself is your freedom, your health, or your life. Those who think for themselves don't just challenge the system. You become immune to the system warping you. You can't allow the system to warp you. You got to stay awake and you got to stay aware of what's going on around you. Because the cost of freedom can be steep. There have been some whistleblowers. Julian Assange, Edward Snowden, Aaron Swartz, Chelsea Manning, Gary Webb. There's a lot of these people that have spoken up, and they've either ended up in prison. Julian Assange, he exposed the truth about war crimes, mass surveillance. This man has been in prison. He's had to go out of country. He is still in prison in the UK facing extradition as we speak. Edward Snowden, he had to exile to Russia. He's living in Russia under asylum, unable to return to the country that he was born in. I'll be right back with you, Christopher. Hang on a second. Aaron Swartz, he was an internet activist and one of the Reddit co-founders. He exposed the truth that access to academic research was locked behind paywalls that we couldn't reach, even though our taxpayer money is what funds these programs at these colleges. He died by suicide at age 26. This man co-founded Reddit. There's a lot of people out there who have spoken up, and things don't go well for them. So there's some danger in speaking up. So some of the things that I'm going to be speaking up about, I'm trying to be extremely careful in how I walk through that. We're going to have to do it on the other channel. And I don't even know that I'm going to let the recorded content stay up. This may be a us thing, or we might have to, I don't know. There's some stuff. There's a lot of things they're not telling you about. I don't know if everybody on here knows, but I had cancer. I went through some severe chemo. It was rough. I lost 107 pounds in 30 days. My dad had previously had cancer. A couple of years later, I got cancer. My niece, who was barely 19, 20 years old at the time and lived a couple of houses down, she had stage 4 cancer. Then my dad got glioblastoma and I lost him. So in my immediate family, we've had cancer pop up 4 or 5 times. All of us live in the same neighborhood. I always blamed it on the water. There used to be a plant in our neighborhood. I was going to go Aaron Brockovich on these people until I found out that a Chinese company once owned it and they didn't own it anymore and wasn't anybody to sue. My dad worked there back in the 70s. It was a plant where they made thread. They would actually take cotton and spin it into thread. Uniblend spinners, I think is what the name of it used to be. But he said back in the 70s, they would take 50-gallon drums of chemicals out back and hose it out in the ditch with the water hose because they need to reuse the barrel again. Nobody knew back then, as far as us citizens, what that was actually doing to the groundwater. Nobody thought about it or explained it or discussed it, and nobody spoke about the truth. Chemicals that go in your water supply, that doesn't have to be a mass conspiracy. All you need are a couple of people to dose it all. The guy at your local water treatment plant doesn't have to know what he's putting in your water. He's assuming that those that are in power, his superiors, know what is in chemical bucket A that he dumps into your water supply. If they're told by their superiors that you order chemical bucket A, that's what they're going to do. And they're going to put it in your water supply. We got to be careful about how I talk about this subject and what I'm going to talk about. We're probably going to do it on Rumble. And it may be next week, guys, because I want to make sure that I have airtight information for what I have found and who I have found that this all leads back to. And it's a couple of corporations. They're big enough that they got their money housed in Switzerland, and they are literally making money off of us like cattle. No, Max, we're not going to Rumble tonight. No, Danny wasn't feeling well, and I just wanted to get on, and we missed our show this afternoon. And I know I had promised you guys an episode on this, but I'm just not ready yet. I got to get up my nerve to come out and wave my hand when I say what I'm going to say, because it's going to, I don't know, it may tick some people off. Not you guys, but some corporations. I don't think too many people are raising the red flag on this. Another truth I have recently discovered is where I was going with this cancer and chemo thing. I know there have been quite a few people um, that listen to us on the regular that have had some personal or familial battle with cancer. Cancer isn't cancer, folks. Hey, Wayne the Pain. Cancer is not cancer. Cancer is parasites. Not all cancers, but the vast majority of them are parasites. One thing you can depend on at your local drugstore, that stuff on the very bottom shelf down there that nobody normally ever buys, the peroxide, the rubbing alcohol, the iodine, the Epsom salt. The reason those are on the bottom shelf and they're only $3 is because those companies that are selling the stuff that you have to get that lady behind the counter to get you, they can't mark it up and make a killing off of it. You cannot patent what occurs naturally in nature. You cannot patent nature. Those things on that bottom shelf occur naturally. They can't patent them. They can't charge you an exorbitant amount because they claim there was research done on them. There are more benefits to most of those things on the bottom shelf than all of that crap behind that counter back there at your local drugstore has. I have watched so many videos this week on cancer, and I literally went to one of my cancer checkups today. I'm in remission, clean and clear. Been there for a while. Yes, Rick Simpson oil is fantastic. Um, it's parasites, folks. It literally looks like maggots eating us from the inside out. It's coming in your meat. It's coming in your food, and these things are microscopic. I mean, we're not talking the size of an actual maggot. We're talking like microscopic little things. When they're going into cancer patients and removing cancerous tumors, you don't ever see much video of that, but they're sending a camera in there because a robot's normally doing the surgery. But you don't see a lot of these videos out there. And this is one thing, anytime you listen to me speak or we talk about something, please don't take my word for anything. Go look it up. Go look it up. Don't look at one source, look at 10. Go look at some of these videos of what that cancer is. Okay, on your face or anywhere, if there's something up under your skin or you've got a zit, sometimes it'll form those type of cyst where it actually creates the sac around whatever the foreign object is. That's exactly what cancer is. These parasites are inside of your body, so your body has formed a sac around said parasites, which are now multiplying in said sac. These are some of the cases where they go in to remove it or biopsy it, and they didn't know what they were doing. They would bust the sac open, parasites get out, parasites multiply, cancer spreads like wildfire. I gotta breathe because this makes me so mad being a cancer patient. First off, they're not going to be honest with us about this parasite thing. You notice when all of this stuff, we can't say the word on here because we'll get struck down, but those couple of years, we pretty much had to stay in our house for a while. That medicine, ivermectin, they told you that wouldn't work for it, was no good, and it was dangerous, and it would reduce your sperm count, and it would mess your... No, it won't. I beg everybody, go look into ivermectin. Go look into fenbendazole, methyl blue, iodine, magnesium, potassium. The majority of the things you need come across they're natural. Last night I was having a conversation with my boyfriend. I've told y'all he used to be a farmer. We were talking about a weed that think it was back in probably the 80s. It was one of those USDA programs where it was what do they call it? An invasive species. Invasive species. It was called a parasitic plant. It's called witchweed. So we were sitting there having a conversation. We were talking about farming in the old days. We were actually watching a guy on YouTube who's got some really cool videos. I'll try to find his name and put it out here for you guys. They're awesome. He just travels around the country and meets locals. Max, hang on to that thought. We'll come back to that in a second. I can't read comments while I'm talking, but yeah, we're gonna come back to that in a second. Um, I actually tried to film my doctor today when I said the word ivermectin. But anyway, witchweed. The USDA put a thing out to farmers that if you found witchweed in your field, just call them and they would come out and spray and eradicate it. And it is a parasitic plant. And it does have to have another plant as a host. Go look up witchweed, folks. Go Google medicinal uses of witchweed. I'm talking about witch, like the witch on the hat and the broom and the woohoo, yeah, witchweed. Go look it up. It will blow your mind the things they use that in medicinally. We can go into talking about dandelions. Monsanto, who owns Roundup, tells you that those dandelions are ugly in your yard and you should buy our Roundup and you should spray it with it. You know what they make the number one heart medication out of? Dandelions. Yep. The weed in your yard that they tell you to eradicate is medicine. Thank you, Inkwell. So-called weeds are medicine. There are a few places online that you can get good ivermectin, fenbendazole. If you have somewhere local in your area, we call them feeding grains here, which is what kind of like the hobby farmer, or somebody with just a few animals. You go there and, you can buy all kind of different things, horse feed, dog feed. You can normally buy things for your horses. Ivermectin is a dewormer for animals. If you go to the feed and grain, you don't have to buy this ivermectin for humans. The ivermectin for human and the ivermectin for horse, it's the same thing. It's the exact same drug. It didn't change. It's not going to change. Ivermectin. It comes in a long cardboard tube. Inside of it, it looks like a syringe, and it'll have like this jelly. It looks like apple jelly is what it looks like, and it actually has an apple flavor, so the horse will eat it. On the side of the tube, it's got an adjustment for your weight. If you weigh 100 pounds, 200 pounds, you just click it. You squeeze it out on your finger. It looks like jelly toothpaste. Put it on your tongue, swallow it. Really doesn't even taste bad. It's got a little bit of an aftertaste. It's gone in a couple of seconds. If you start a regimen of that, remove the parasites from your body and start taking vitamins and use natural cures, you cut big pharma out. You cut big pharma down. I'm in a situation, and so many others are, that you can't even go to your local pharmacy and get medications filled because we're being pushed and trapped into using the online pharmacy that our health insurance company uses. So instead of needing a medicine that was prescribed for me today and going and getting it this evening or tomorrow at the local pharmacy, I got to wait a week for it to be mailed here and pay more money for it. Speaking truth can be dangerous. So this is the reason I wanted to come to you guys tonight and let you know I had not forgot about you. This is the rabbit hole I'm down, but I got to make sure when I speak, I'm speaking correct because I'm not speaking against average Joe Blows when I'm speaking. If you'll look at Chinese medicine, most of their stuff is constituted off flowers and weeds, what we're told is weeds. And they literally just dry them and have them in little bags. If you're not feeling well, they've got a bag with rose petals in it. You put it in some hot water and you make it some tea. I don't know if anybody on here doesn't know how to take dandelions or other, we're going to put this in quotes, flowers and make things like Rick Simpson oil or things of that nature, I'll make you a tutorial. Anybody interested in knowing how that happens? Anybody want a tincture? Very simple. Everclear. Go get you a bottle of Everclear, a quart mason jar. Research what part of like dandelions. Do you need the root? Do you not need the root? But you take that Everclear, put it in the quart jar, put your flower in it. Depending upon the flower as to whether you are trying to harvest the pollen off of said flower or not, there's a procedure for cold. But it's as simple as putting this stuff in that Everclear. That's grain alcohol. It's going to evaporate. It's not going to be alcohol when you're done. Because you're going to put it in this jar and you're going to let it sit until it breaks down all the good stuff inside of it. And then you're going to crack the lid. You're going to leave the lid to this jar open and the alcohol is going to evaporate. When it evaporates, you have a tincture. Some of them need to be boiled. Some of them don't. Some of them you can just put in a crock pot. Some of them you can put in a freezer. We can go through it. We can have a whole master class on tinctures. There is one that I make that's called flower water. Same theory. You put the actual Everclear in the freezer and you get it good and cold because liquor's not going to freeze. Then you put the flour in and you shake it and you stick it back in the freezer. You come back by a few hours later and you shake it again to knock all the good stuff off. The next day you take it out, you take a cheesecloth and you strain it. You take the chunks of flowers out of it. You take the strained part, put it back in your jar and leave the lid off. The alcohol will evaporate and it will come down to like a oily residue, which is called tincture. Very similar to Rick Simpson oil. The mimosa tree. There are all kind of weeds out there. Oregano oil, one of the best antibiotics there is out there. Um, there's so much stuff that's good for us out there that we don't have to go and depend on what these people claim they're giving us. The biggest thing about the whole cancer is if over 97% or 90% of cancer is somehow possibly really parasites inside of us, you can almost excuse it if they didn't know it, but I got a feeling I think they knew it. Because if they knew it and they could cure you with $50 worth of ivermectin and fenbendazole, then they wouldn't be able to give you the $1 million in chemotherapy and the other 9 prescriptions that you have to be on. Because I don't know who's been through chemo. I had Hodgkin's lymphoma. I went through chemo for months. I would go to chemo, then I had to get a Neulasta shot to reproduce my white blood cells. They would zero out. I would end up in the hospital getting blood transfusions. My cancer treatment crossed the $1 million mark that may have been able to have been solved with $50, and I would have never had to go through what I went through. I would have never lost every hair on my head and on my body. The chemo wrecked a good portion of my internal organs. It wrecked all kinds of things about my body. There is nothing good in chemo. When somebody comes at you to administer something in an IV and it comes out in a lead-lined box and they have on what looks like a spaceman suit and then they put it in your vein, there is nothing about that is good. It's not going to leave any good side effect in your body. It's going to kill everything it comes in contact with. You heard about Agent Orange back in Korea that they sprayed the jungles with? You know they still spray crops with that, right? Yeah, look it up. Agent Orange, active ingredient. What is that active ingredient used in? They're spraying our food with this stuff. They're spraying the dirt that they plant our food and this stuff in. Guys, I could go on and rant about what they're doing to us all night long, but I just wanted y'all to know that I haven't forgotten you. I'm doing a lot more research before I raise my hand on this because when I got down this rabbit hole seemed to be a little deeper than I intend to slide into, but I'm not going to let it go because I've started pulling at the thread and now I'm chasing the money. And I know that there are some really big corporations that set up these plasma centers to get the drug addicted and the poor to go in and give their blood for pennies. All right, let me go back to the comments a few minutes, guys. I've only got a few minutes here. I'm going to eat dinner with my mom. We don't get too much me and her time. Let's see. I was looking at Max. Yeah, mold. Yeah, mold contamination can actually mimic cancer, the symptoms of it. Mold toxicity of fungus, mycotoxins, and algae too. Yup. Ivermectin. Yeah, don't order the ivermectin from some of these online pharmacies. I don't trust that. Go to a feed and grain. Get the ones that are. If you don't have a feed and grain, go to Tractor Supply. I know Tractor Supply has it. Um, yeah, it's good for anything. It's not going to hurt any animal. Humans are animals. Ivermectin is fine. Fenbendazole is good. A combination of ivermectin and fenbendazole, people with stage 4 life-threatening cancer have been cured. Go listen to Mel Gibson. He'll tell you about some of his friends. And when you got people that have got that kind of money, millions and millions of dollars, and that's what they choose is ivermectin and fenbendazole to treat their cancer, there's something to it. They could get any drug they wanted, and that's what they used because they knew it would work. Let's see. Yes to tincture. Uh, Pharmacy. I'm reading comments, guys. I'm trying to go back and catch up with y'all. A class on tinctures would be awesome. I'll try to put that together. I'll at least put some videos together on how to do it. It's not that hard. It's just time, a day or two. But I know we've had this conversation about everybody farming a little bit, trying to figure out how you can make a container garden to grow vegetables because we never know where this world is going. If you can't grow anything else, grow your own medicine. Look into what you can grow in a container garden that is good for you. Saffron is one of the most expensive things out there in the world as far as spice. Saffron is extremely hard to harvest. If you've ever looked into it, it's a very unique process. It's very hard to process. It's like almost like pollen, but it's a very small plant that they get it from. Saffron has some of the best mood stabilizing, dopamine, serotonin. They also don't want you to know that ibogaine will break an addiction to most drugs, heroin, all of those. Ibogaine. One good ibogaine treatment, PTSD, ibogaine. If you knew this stuff, then you wouldn't buy their stuff, and they wouldn't be making millions and flying all over the world in their fancy jets and riding in limos and going to Met galas. Let's see. You had an aunt who took treatments on and off for 10 years. Yep, destroyed her liver from the treatments. Let's see. And like we say, hey, Curious Georgia. Um, and yeah, and depopping. I understand the total depopping thing. Yep, and sugar drives them crazy. It's like crack to these parasites. But what I'm saying, guys, go out, do some research. Go search for videos of internal cancer removal video and look at it. There's a bunch of them out there. As long as you don't have a weak stomach. Find out some things you can grow at home There are so many sources out there on the internet. Weeds aren't hard to grow. Most people fight to get them out of their yards and can't get rid of them. But I don't know if anybody knows how to use Google and image search. But if you just go to a Google page, the little bar where you type everything in, if you look to the right hand side of that bar, you'll see like a little microphone and then a camera. If you click on that camera button, you can actually take a picture of something, and Google will go out there and search for a matching photo and tell you what it is. If it's a plant or an animal and you don't know what it is, do it. There's a plant that grows in most people's yard that has all the qualities of morphine, and it's non addictive. You can rub it on you, you can chew the plant, you can actually squeeze the milk out of it and put it up under your tongue. It's called devil's lettuce. And no, I ain't talking about the 420 kind. This literally looks like a lettuce. And it's a weed. They tell you to eradicate it. It's horrible. It'll kill your grass. Because if you find out you don't have to buy their Motrin and damage your liver anymore, or their Tylenol, of course they don't want you to have that weed in your yard. Go do some research, guys. I'll maybe try to put us together a list of things that we can do. Because if this comes down to a situation, economically or worldwide, where we ever have to be in a barter system, even if you don't have cows and you don't have chickens and you don't have a bunch of land to farm, if you got a couple of buckets and you know how to grow antibiotics and you know how to grow pain medicine, grow some witchweed. I'm telling you, that stuff is good for everything from Viagra to an upset stomach. I think there's like 12 different medications that you could see that it was in. New York Debs. Let's see. You have a testimony. Yes, I know what that grass is you're talking about. I can't think of the name of it. New York Debs. Let me see if I can find. Here, you know what? Oh, I'm going to put the email in here in the comments. It's logic before authority at gmail.com. And that's one of the main show. Oh, I can't even spell Gmail, y'all. Goodness gracious, it's been a long day. I've been all over the world today. Logic before authority at gmail.com. I just dropped it in the comments. Private. Send me a message on there and make sure you notate your username on here. I get a lot of emails. And I got some things I can discuss with you because I actually do need some help if you got some free time. Because I sure ain't making nothing off of this, and neither is Daniel, and we can't afford to hire people. We just trying to keep y'all informed. Let's see. But New York Debs, if you want to be on the show and you've got a testimony, shoot me an email, give me a little synopsis of it. Make sure you put your username in there so I'll know who it is. I try to go through those every couple of days, and just because I don't get back to you quick, don't mean I ain't going to get back to you. If you send me an email and I haven't reached out to you in a week, when you're watching this again, just, like, hey, did you get my email? I got a lot going on. I work a full-time job helping my daughter who's going away to the police academy for a while. So now I'm a semi full-time parent of my grandbabies, which is not something I was planning to do, but her career is important. And I try to raise my children to support each other as a community, as a family, because those are some of the traditions in this country that are gone. When we lose our sense of community and family, like they tried to do that time, with the sticky poke thing, and that those cooties that made us stay in the house for a while, it changed our world. Our children, I watched a video last night, like the traditions of how to fix a fence or how to change your oil or how to change a tire. Most of these 20-year-olds today can't do any of those things. When I was 7 years old, I could change a tire. I was changing my own oil when I got my driver's license, but my daddy was a mechanic. But if your daddy was a carpenter, you could build a fence. If your daddy was a plumber, you could install a new toilet. Those are just things you picked up in life as you went. Those things aren't picked up by people anymore. I encourage the men that are out there, if you know how to change a tire, ask some of the kids in the neighborhood, hey, y'all want a lesson on how to change a tire? It doesn't hurt. Reach out. Get to know your community. Get to know your neighbor. Figure out some things that you can do that if it ever all does come down to it, that you got something to barter. Barter may not be actual goods or services, it may be skills. But you're going to need some kind of good or some kind of service or some kind of skill. Make sure you got one. Go ahead, Debs, and send me the video and we'll take a look at it. I hope everybody learned something tonight. Go do some research. Go search for who owns the plasma centers. How much does that product gross a year? And I know we talk about a lot of things on here. And one of those things we talk about is that black cube, and the people that bow down to it. There's a bunch of other companies named Black, but you'll figure it out. Take the word black, go look up plasma donation centers, and you'll be going down the road I'm going down. Because I'm telling you, this is a deep hole. Let's see. Yeah. They just keep shoveling pharmaceuticals at you until they get you addicted to them. Look at Kentucky and what they've done to that state. You're close, Mike. You're close. It's black hydrochloroquine from tonic water, active ingredient quinine. And another thing, I'm throwing things out there for my regulars to go look up tensor rings. Tensor, copper tensor rings. And look at what it does with frequency. Because we had a show on frequency the other day and bells and harmonics and what that does for you. Just go look it up. I'm going to let you guys go tonight. I hope everybody has a good Wednesday evening. Send me the emails private. I'll look to hear from you. And hopefully we'll be back Friday. Hopefully Daniel's tooth is all better. I am on vacation until Monday from my job number 1. So I'm going to take it easy tomorrow. Go goof off with my mom. And I'll be back Friday. Hopefully. We'll see you guys and talk to you. Thank you, private. See you Friday. And remember, love yourself. Love your neighbor. Go get barefoot. Go stand outside. Hug a tree. Okay? You need to be grounded. You need to have your mind open. You need to have discernment. Stay awake. Stay aware. Stay curious. Okay, I love you guys. I'll see you all Friday. Good night.